I wanted
Be
to.
new of it. It's good to have it permanently. But anyhow, Mom just reminded us something about Aunt Edith, that she was.
Yeah. She was a very beautiful woman. It's sad. I mean, I think that she became quite depressed, and I think took her own life ultimately. She married a guy named Ben Wiener, and they were in the interior decorating business together in Washington, D.C. And all children, all my cousins, my great multitude of cousins, all were crazy about her. When she'd come to the house, I mean, it was fun. She'd say, "Okay, kids, let's go." And we'd go, we'd have fun. Everybody worshipped Annie. She was beautiful. And, she was bubbly and nice. Loved kids. We liked to be with her.
And Mom says she was a Red Cross post-funeral.
Yeah,
for the First World
they had
War.
a big picture of her, joined the Red Cross. That was Aunt Edith.
Okay, how did your parents meet?
I really don't know. I think that some of the young bucks traveled around the dances and so on in the coal regions, and I think they met that way. And they were really very strange in the way they worked. They were secretly married. Nobody knew they were married. And then my father went off to continue his school for a couple of years, and finally they told the world they were married and started a family. But I think that a couple of years went by while they were married. That it was a secret marriage, isn't that, am I correct?
I think that's what I understand.
It was weird. They were married in Camden, New Jersey.
I'd like to interrupt again.
Come here,
I
Paul.
just
Bro.
said-
Yeah, well, let's have you.
Well, coming from us, when you said that these young bucks used to go around to dances, you know, in these little towns, there weren't that many Jewish families. There were some, but you knew everyone. I know living in Allentown for a few years as a teenager, we knew all the boys in town. So what the custom was, to even the time when I was there, the Jewish young teenagers or singles from Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton, and I guess it was that way up in the coal regions, they'd have dances at the Jewish Community Center or whatever, and the Jewish boys from the neighborhood towns would come to these dances. And that could be the same situation years ago.
Sort of like a big meat market.
Well, sort of, but they met each other that way. That was the way they could socialize and meet each other.
I know my mother did a lot of traveling around those towns.
Well, that's what you did. You went to dances in these towns where you would meet them.
And she was very beautiful as a young woman,
She was
wasn't
very
she?
pretty. She was very small, but she was very pretty. Very pretty. They were all good looking women. The men too. I don't know about Lewis, how handsome he was, but the rest, they were nice looking people.
You at one point mentioned something that your father was pretty much of a secular Jew, but not everyone in his family was.
Well, my grandfather, I remember my grandfather going through the ritual when I was a kid. I didn't know what he was doing, but I would see him and he'd be wrapping stuff around his arm and all this. And no, my father was not affiliated with anything. Although I'm sure he felt deeply committed, but he, you know, but no, he was not observant. He was observant insofar as what your mother said. I mean, he'd like to have bacon or that kind of stuff in the house, and my mother would make it, and you'd smell it and say, yeah, raise hell about it. But of course we all liked it very much, and when he was out, we would have it.
When is he of course was a very important collector of Dickens stuff, and he had a great book collection, some of which I grew up with. What was, yeah.
He didn't go to college, but he was really self-educated. He was a very heavy reader. He read it. He kept a list of what he read, and he read. I don't know how many books a week. He just read, and he read stuff that you and I might not want to read. I mean, he'd be reading books of literary criticism of Victorian literature or something. He'd read all this stuff. And he had a good memory. People liked to lunch with him and so on, because he just seemed to know so much about everything. Very well educated, extremely well educated. He just did it himself just by reading. He always said to me, "You ought to read more." Tell me, I didn't read enough, especially if I didn't know a word or. He was a very loving father, very good father, not a very good husband. My mother and he, didn't hit it off too well. We had a contentious, very disturbing household. Lots of tension. It was a shame, but didn't make me too crazy. But it should have. It was very difficult, and they were both nice. I mean, my mother was a very sweet, bubbly person. You knew her when she was kind of out of it, but she was very sweet, very loving, and he was too. Just didn't get along with each other. But they stuck it out, because that's what you did in those days. For the kids' sake, you stuck together.